Mic on.
How's that? I had an echo earlier, and I was trying to make changes to make it better. Is that good or is it too low? Just put the volume up a bit. All right, word, like there. All right, cool, cool. Well, thanks for that. So here I ponder into like what's basically the nuts. If this was sort of the plowshares, it'd probably be the nuts. But so it's like Death Touch Blocker, Brainstorm, and Council Judgment. Council Judgment is awkward because you have Tundra and Misty, so you can't actually get a basic plains. And if you get one White Source wasted, you can't cast it. But I don't think there's any way you can shuffle this. So put Council Judgment last, draw the Brainstorm, like this hand, just to have Fawn up if we need it. The only thing I can imagine them playing is Sylvan Library, Ponder, sure, and yeah, then Goyfier. Um, Now I think my plan here. See, I drew Coatl, and it's just a little awkward. This would have been. So I'm trying to think. If I had drawn Council Judgment, there would have been no way to like. I'd have to just. I wouldn't have. I'd have to keep one of these down unless I brainstorm and then fetch this. They didn't have. They definitely could have another days, but they already got rid of one. And I think like you can like put them to the test and make sure that they have it. Also because like if I don't cancel judgment now with a wasteland, I won't be able to do it again. So I brainstorm and I draw the second tundra. So again, like it's just very awkward mana here. Hitting like the basic forest, the white duel. So we put back Fawn because I know I won't need it, and I think a land. Put back the tundra so I could fetch the tundra and then council judgment before they waste my second white source. So yeah, we cast the council judgment here. Um, Unsurprisingly, it eats a daze, which is pretty much like I don't want to say the worst thing in the world, but it's pretty bad. Um, but I think that was the only way to do it reasonably. Because again, you can't wait a turn, given that we have Tundra this, unless you're anticipating drawing a white fetch to get the only other white source in the deck. So you put them to the test and they have the daze. It's frustrating, but it is what it is. Go to their turn. They waste the white source, easy. Brainstorm, sure. Fetch, I think another threat probably. Yeah, so that's really rough. So attack for 4. Life total's getting beat down. Here I ponder again, trying to because my other play is if I don't respect days at all, I can library into Coatl. But I decided to ponder to try to hit another sword. We still got 3 in the deck or snap sword. I can't even snap swords unless I hit a white source. Yeah, so it's basically that, and then play Coatl around days. Terminus is great unless they have another wasteland, which we'll see if they do. Because then we play this, and again, this is so awkward because if this is island, I can go island, forest, play Coatl, and then Miracle Terminus on their turn. But just the mana is really getting me this game, and I only had one fetch all game, so I don't think I made any incorrect decisions in that aspect. Um, Oops, I forgot. I think this just goes to next turn, so that's fine. So then Delver doesn't flip. Attack with both, sure. Here's your Coatl, and they both didn't respond. Narset, okay, and we have Remember we have Terminus on top, and we only have this is a white source. So what's gonna happen? The actual worst possible thing. So get wasted off of white with a terminus on top, and they're almost out of gas here, and there's just nothing to capitalize on. Again, so just that. Can't do anything with it. Got to ponder. Finally hit a white source with Flooded Strand. So we shuffle there. So I don't know what I was doing there because I guess I was just frustrated because there was a big mistake. I could have went Flooded Strand Plains to play the Sylvan Library. So that was something I missed during the game. I was probably just like frustrated and just only saw fetches. So that's definitely a mistake that would have given me more outs. So we play Sylvan Library. Yeah, because I'm just thinking this could like do something and it can't with the two tundras already gone. So we get sixth here. Um, why didn't I play Library? I wanted the blocker to try to get this because he needs exactly Bolt to tag like to do this. If I just play Library and say go, the previous turn I could also Coatl, but that leaves me open to Daze again. So again, it was probably just playing. And Library, I'm always hesitant to play against Delver because like they kill you before you can actually do anything with it. But that definitely, cause I side this out, but that definitely could have been a mistake. Like looking back, there's definitely at least two or three spots that I made plays I wasn't happy with. I made plays like this other threat, and so if this was a Flooded Strand where I could have played a Terminus, I would have actually had some outs. Yeah, and I just like fetch a duel to get rid of the two garbage cards on top that I know. Um, we library into this, which doesn't actually do anything. Um, even if I had like kept the white source and I had a terminus, but I definitely made a mistake earlier. But that didn't punish me here since I didn't actually hit a white removal spell. Because the most you can do is like brainstorm this back, and even if I had a white source in play, I guess technically, if we want to play, if this was actually a plains instead of a trop that I had fetched, I had an opportunity here to put back two cards. You'd have to put back Uro and Misty, then Brainstorm, hoping to hit another Brainstorm to put Terminus on top, and then Brainstorm on their turn. Not because I wouldn't have had another blue to Brainstorm twice. Yeah, so I was dead anyway. It didn't matter in this situation about that fetch. It could have if there was a Terminus on top, but it didn't. So I'm just dead here, and that's that. Uh, so that was game one. Um, so that one definitely could have been played a little better. All right, so match two. So this hand's really good. This is a good mulligan. Um, the carpet obviously is the carpet is just like the main reason to play this over blue white red. Blue white red might be better overall with the different matchups as things settle down with the new meta. But right now, if you're expecting to see Rug Delver, just having carpet is so much of an advantage that you don't have to play around days basically ever. You just go turn one carpet and you essentially win. It's been my experience anyway. So we both mull to six. Turn one, I'm just like, show me Force of Will. It gets in there, and I think from this spot we're just in such an insane position. He goes Delver, sure, yep. We're gonna make mana with carpet. Um, I don't know why this isn't. There it goes. Um, so we use the blue floating, a terminus with a veil on top, like just drawing the nuts here. They go, don't do anything. The best case scenario is they just play another threat, and they do. They play Goyf, absolutely. And here, just in a position where you don't have to do anything. You have a terminus on top, and you have veil in hand. So this is such an amazing way. They just go fetch. The only thing I'm worried about here is maybe Clothis. Doesn't have it. Even then, I have Council's Judgment. So they pass, right? Boom, fetch, no stifle. There's your terminus, cast it. They force negate, force a will, veil. and then from this point, the thing is basically it's game over. Yep, all good. Sure, I'll add some green, play land, and get Uro down. Just draw. Sure, again, why not? And your turn. Like, and he surgicals Uro, which actually is basically I think the only way they have a shot. And I fetch there because they only had one card in hand. And I get a duel because I really don't care if I get wastelanded. So I just tried to like bait him to like, let me show me one of your cards is absolute garbage. So he plays Goyf. Oh no, draw the Swords of Plowshares on it. Swords that. Go ahead. And I don't know, like, yeah, we get another land, which obviously is pretty irritating, but what are you going to do? And this is a Hooting Mandrills, I think. This looks like he's, yeah. So we just hardcast, force of all that. Easy. Stellar. Yeah, now we get Teferi into fucking. So we play Teferi, all good, attack. Bounce Coatl. And now we have end of turn double Coatl. Oh no, actually, again, I made a mistake here. I fetched incorrectly. I remember that too. I was like, I don't know what I was thinking here. I was like, get Mystic Sanctuary for this, but then I'm like, wait, I can't play double Coatl here. But it doesn't really matter. So, get to do this, get a Ponder. We're just like in a mode that is very difficult for anything to go wrong. And this game's basically over. So, um, yeah, there's like, again, double Snapcaster with multiple Force of Will in the graveyard. He bolts Tef. We go snap hardcast, attack for 4. And this game is essentially over. I'm not sure there's anything they could possibly draw here. Sure, another Veil. And here I want to here I snap Force aggressively because they've been just passing the turn with 3 cards in hand for the past like 4 turns. So their hand is all dead. And the Force of Will here can take care of their Brainstorm, which will be multiple, which could represent multiple threats once it resolves. So we Force of Will this, attack for 6, and then the game is absolutely over. So that one's pretty easy. This might be a little sketch handicapped. It was a mull to 6 with a 1 land and a Ponder, but it felt reasonable enough. That's obviously unfortunate. Or a Force Will on top. This match, I feel like I could have maybe. I was supposed to force a Goyf at one point. So I brainstorm here. Like right there, I'm probably supposed to play a Force and pass to hold up Force Will plus Veil. Because in this position, this is like the absolute worst position. Now I have to go get a Tundra. He just again has a 3rd threat, and I don't have answers to these threats right now. He blasts that, sure. And that's something else too. I could have left up this instead of a Tundra. I just left it in case I drew a white source, and I knew I was going to put a green source in. So that could have been bad. And he ponders. And again, he has 2 lands, 5 cards in hand here. Again, Surgical Uro. I have to force this. I'm just all in on this Uro right now. Drawing anything that's good. And it just draws me a Force Will, which I can't cast. So it's pretty miserable. And I think he's like going to blast this end of turn or something. Or just bolt me. This flips. Yep, flips to bolt. Well, and that's 7 life. So it gets the. And then also has another threat, Hooting Mandrill. So I lost to the 4th threat. Double bolt. So he bolts. I fetch there, get him to bolt me so I can get a Force of Will in without like being Flustered Sword or something. So I need to get draw exactly like Swords of Plowshares here. And even then, I don't think it matters. Yeah, so that was pretty bad. That's pretty rough. Oh, this is uh, a pretty straightforward win. I have no idea what they're on. But to me, this is the easiest slam library into Basic Island. He has Pierce, which is probably the most frustrating card. So I force pitching Brainstorm because I'm going to draw all the cards on top anyway. Like, what does Brainstorm even do for me? Yeah, we pay 8 no matter what here. Slam Uro. Like, this is like the most straightforward gameplay. Like, go ahead, your turn. And we're in a very, very good spot. Land. They're set. Absolutely not. Force that. Drawing all the forces against the this threat. What do you call it? This deck with a lot of cards that must be answered. Yeah, I just draw a land. Play Teferi. It resolves. Draw a free card. Because I'm not sure what they would play that I'd want to bounce. Um, he slams Jace here, which is absolutely frustrating. If they just had a blue card, but hey. I pondered a shuffle because those cards were terrible. Um, Flashback Uro. I have Mystic Sanctuary, don't put it in play, waiting for something. So he draws 3. Swords that, and I force negation it. And then he follows up with, right here is the most brutal thing, so. He taps a Caracas and doesn't unsummon my Uro because he's going to play Moat. I do run Teferi and I do run Council Judgment. Right now this is a pretty bad spot, but if I can remove this, I just attack Jace and he's so far behind. Um, so it's definitely like an all-in type move. And I hit this, I hit the Council Judgment, but I need another white source. I hit that off the Brainstorm. So now I just go land Council Judgment your Moat, and then they concede. Because yeah, I attack Jason, and the game is it's just over. So that was very easy. So I think they're on like a standstill style deck with Moat Jace. So I'm just gonna go land go, and so I hit it is standstill. So I brainstorm just to see what I'll draw, and I see it's all lands, which is actually not bad, because the best strategy against standstill is just to play lands and say go. Because whoever like if we don't miss land drops, like we're in a better position than them, right? So we go land go. They missed their 4th land drop. All right, so they're up to 6 cards in hand. We have land drop go, easy. They fetch the cycle of Shark Typhoon. It's like, all right, you have a 1/1. Then he attacks for 1, and then passes again with 7 cards in hand. Land go. So we both have 7 cards in hand, but I'm up 2 mana. And now they have to move the discard. So this standstill, they're like down a card because of this card. We say land go. They finally hit a 4th land, but I'm in no mood to make a play until I can't make land drops. So we just play land go, and now my plan is to brainstorm at the end of their turn. So they have 7 cards in hand, right? So we say sure, and end of turn I brainstorm. So this puts 10 cards in hand, um, and they don't play anything. So standstill, they actually discarded a card and standstill. They didn't go up any cards, and now I have carpet in play, and the match is over. It's just that easy that the match is over. Um, it's like, yeah, just play arrow, sure, just gain, like, just you can do whatever you want here. It doesn't matter. I have infinite mana, and then I have like triple force of will. So I just pass because like this is the most insane blue hand you'll ever see. So once I untap, I know we're just gonna go to town on everything. He plays Teferi. I force it, and then I think I just play a Coatl here. What do I do? Oh, Snapcaster targeting Brainstorm. Okay. Because he would then have to bounce Snapcaster if I wanted to let it go. But I just forced it pitching Quaddle. And now this position is just comical, right? So now we just get to we play Tef. That once that resolves, bounce your Shark token, play Jace, Brainstorm, and he just concedes before he untaps. So there was just a million ways to play this and win. A carpet again is just insane in the blue matchups. Round 3. Death and Taxes. This guy's a wizard. Death and Taxes wizard. So I just know I need to hit land drops, so we ponder for land. He goes land pass, which is like the best possible thing for me to see. Against Death and Taxes, no Vile, no Mom is absolutely amazing. So we're in an okay position. If this is a Misty, I'd feel a lot better. So you go Stalia. We just run out the old Coatl. Again, draw Flutter instead. Attack for 1 because we're not going to block. He attacks with Thalia. There's no play to be made here. So play Spirit of the Labyrinth, which is obviously brutal. I Brainstorm, set up the Terminus. Getting rid of Force Negation. That seems pretty straightforward to me. Because get rid of 2 of his cards, 1 of mine that cantripped, so it seems pretty fair. And there, I leave Trop on tap just so I could play Guadal. Yeah, like right here. And I get so here I make a questionable play. Maybe not like yeah. I couldn't even get a fourth. That was a Scolding Tarn because he actually has double Wasteland for both Trops, which is pretty frustrating. So again, I play the Terminus there. He has the third Dahlia, which is absolutely devastating to me. And I actually can't play this Coatl because both Trops got Wastelanded. I can't play any 3-drops, so now he gets Violin. I'm in a very awkward spot. Preordained to try to find lands. I actually hit land and Swords of Plowshares, which is solid. But then here I play Council's Judgment my next turn, and I don't know if that's a good line because I think he plays Stoneforge Mystic. And it just passes, yeah. So here I tap out to play Council's Judgment, instead of just like playing Teferi or Swords of Plowshares. And he vials in Mom. And my line was get rid of Thalia just because I'm being taxed so heavily and I can't play like Jace or Teferi or anything right now. So I do that. I think he misplays here because he plays Stoneforge Mystic and he had a Thalia in hand. So he could have violed in Thalia first just to make sure I don't force that Stoneforge. But and now he has an active Mom and we draw the carpet. And just with both Terminuses being used and an active Mom and a used Council Judgment and with the 4th Thalia, Snap Council Judgment is going to cost, what, 6 mana? Um, it's in a really, really brutal position. So here you just attack. And I think I just play Coatl to try to get through the deck. I'm drawing like the Carpet and Jace that I know about. And we know that they have Batter Skull. So I just use this opportunity to play Jace. I brainstorm into just just nothing. So this match is super over, I think. Yeah, they put in Batter Skull, and that's just done. It goes on maybe for a turn or two, but it's over. Like I snap keep this hand. Turn 1 Engineered Explosives on 1 into Sylvan Library. So I do this. So he has no good turn 1 play now. It's great. I play Tropier, Sylvan Library. If you want to play, yeah, use your land for turn to waste me, let me sure. He doesn't. He just plays Deathalia, which makes sense. We pay 8 just because this card is broken. And I don't Swords there, which doesn't play it, which maybe is wrong because I left him a chance to have Caracas. But then he plays Skyclave Apparition, which is one of the most frustrating cards. I Sword Salia here, untap, Brainstorm into pretty good ones. I get rid of the Force. Cataclysm is pretty much the only thing he could have, and even then, it's not that devastating. And I get the Preordain. I draw the Force. Draw the Force now with Teferi on top. Attack me. Spirit of Labyrinth and Vile. That's pretty irritating. I have an opportunity here to play Shark Typhoon, and I don't. And I think that was a mistake. I play the Uro. Oh, I wanted to play Uro to get my life total up, even though it didn't draw a card. I was worried that he's gonna attack for 5, and I'm at 8, so I go to 3. Then just this getting through, it was absolutely devastating. So I blow up this to get rid of the chance of Mom. He plows Uro instead of playing Caracas, and then plays Revoker. So now once I draw the land, I'm at 17 life, so I slam Shark Typhoon because I'm just in an insane position that I don't think I could ever lose. So sure. And he plays Sanctum Prelate here. I let that go because I have Jace to remove the Teferi to bounce it if I want to. So I play E on 2. It takes care of Jace and that, and then I slam Sylvan Library 2/2/2s. And this match is and I forced this just because Sophie is the only way I think I lose this, and they concede after that. Yeah, I just think if he gets a Sophie in hand, then there's a chance that they get through my Shark. So I'm gonna nip that in the bud right there. So that's game 2. I forced turn 1 Vile. Pretty straightforward. They go Stoneforge Mystic, sure. Plowing this. And then they play Recruiter, which is pretty frustrating. So they hand is Stoneforge plus Sophie. Here again, I think it's important just to get Uro down. While if he's gonna start porting me, to be able to have mana to do what I need to do. The Rest in Peace here is absolutely insane. I did not, yeah, Rest in Peace is especially with Snapcaster and Uro in the yard. So I find Force and Uro, and I'm just yo, get out of here, Rest in Peace. And I Brainstorm. Here I think I messed up. I kept the Plow instead of Snapcaster. I think Snapcaster is probably better, just due to the fact that we know they run Rest in Peace and Graveyard type things. So maybe I want to be more mana efficient instead of here, because next turn I could Uro plus Swords if I use the Snapcaster this turn. I thought about that play right after I made it. And they just concede here with the Sophie. So I think they're multi-queuing, and they only had 5 minutes left on the clock to try to win from this position. So I think they skipped through their main phase and then just conceded. So untapping with Uro and Swords though felt like I was in a very good, and then a Snapcaster, I was in a good spot. I don't think it mattered. I think this was some type of like Maverick style list. I think this is like a F-pause list from what I remember. So I just ponder here. I think it's some type of land style deck. So I'll take the Force Negation to pitch to the Force Negation. If they play a Chalice or a Sylvan Library. And I think in this match, we'll see what happens here. Diamond and then fetch. Plays Reclaimer. I think I draw Swords here. Yeah. So I have an option. I can play Sylvan Library, or I could get a duel to Swords it, and I just get the Forest and play Sylvan Library. More important to develop mana and start drawing cards with this. And they had the Wasteland, so I would have been in a lot of trouble. So now I untap, pay 8. Or do I put back Terminus? No, I put back Terminus, okay. And then pay 4. Now I get a duel, play Teferi to bounce this. They sack, get what, Feel of the Dead? Yeah, they get Feel of the Dead here. But that gets bounced. Sure, feeling pretty good about this spot. They punishing fire this, easy force negation, pitching a second Snapcaster. They play this guy, who cares? Let that go, they waste me. Then play a Blast Zone. Library, they pay 8 here. Here I probably pay 8. Yeah. So I just take this up. Arrow from hand, draw a card, play the white source, and then Swords to Plowshares on the Reclaimer. Very straightforward. Yeah, not letting them develop mana. And clearing the board, getting Uro in play, ramping my mana up. Teferi's in play now. They can't like do anything weird. So Hall, which is a weird inclusion for this style deck, because I don't think it's like straight loam where you're milling your Valakut explorations, but hey. So I put that back, pay 4 again, brainstorm, and I just keep drawing everything I would ever need. So we play Uro, one's boom, 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 boom. Sure. And now he like, the best thing they could do is like take this up to 3. And then even then they take it up to 3, it kills this and this, refills my yard, I just play Uro again. So, and here I didn't need the Ponder right away, because I take them to Fairy, so I could have waited if I wanted to. Yeah, they put this up to 3, like, okay. And now they loam, which I force negation, they concede, because they can't blow it up for 3. So now I have this to like get value and box your, bash your Mox Diamond, attack for 6, gain 3, play this, like the game is over. The turn 1 Reclaimers are really good. And I ponder. Yeah, just trying to find like white source removal for this, more lands, a couple things that would make sense. This is the nut, absolute nut, Reclaimer and Flagstones. Hit a relic, which I like a lot. Just get library in play. Do your shenanigans. It's gonna get I think a Triumph, or it gets like a Plateau, and then Field of the Dead or Blast Zone. Okay, to try to get rid of this. Sure. Don't hate my spot here. I had Field naturally in hand. Double Reclaimer is pretty rough since I don't have any white sources for. I think I actually cut my Terminuses in this matchup because the only things they have are Reclaimers and Skyclaves. So I don't think having the Terminus makes a lot of sense. So we just play Uro again, trying to ramp our mana up. Just put the duel in because I don't want to get a Tundra Wasteland in. Get the Relic going to try to mitigate some of the damage if they want to start attacking with Reclaimer. So he gets rid of Blast Zone to get a Bajuka Bog to get rid of the Ura. Sure. No problem. That makes me like happier to blow up my relic if I have to. So he goes Mox Diamond and just starts beating me here, which is a good line because it's like he has this. So he's basically like, "Do you have Terminus?" I have to force because I know there's no Terminus in my deck. And I think I don't have EE. Yeah, EE is not in either, so I'm not in a super good spot. So we just play back to basics. There's really there's no super line here. It's a good spot. So they play Surgical on my Force Will. There was only one more in my deck, so I didn't really care about stopping that. Here I pop Relic to shrink their Reclaimers to take 2. They play the 5th different land. So I play Coatl main phase just to try to find a sorcery speed thing, which I did. So I Teferi bounce one, and then I have a Reclaimer to block here. I am still just like not in a good spot at all. So really good play here. Sacks his second Field of the Dead to make the 6th land, and then this is the 7th land. And then he could fetch and obviously make another zombie. So he has just many threats that are like I just can't answer it now. So he passes, and even with library, I think I just clean miss. There's not much to hit though. Once they have field online, which is something that I don't like about the deck. It has trouble dealing with Field of the Dead. Because like even like your back to basics still don't get it. You need like a Blood Moon or a From the Ashes to really try to do something. And yeah, we're just dead here. This match was pretty crazy from what I remember. Is the right one. A hand I'm not thrilled with keeping, but I keep. Play Flooded to hit a turn one loam, and I try to brainstorm here to find the force negation, and I do. Like, it's pretty insane. I find the force negation and Sylvan Library, and he has the Fire Blast for it. So they get 2 lands out of it, which is pretty devastating. Here, I don't think I have a choice. Just obviously slam Sylvan Library, but from this position, I did not think I could win. Having a turn one loam with Power Blast backup is pretty devastating. The only positive is we know they have 2 lands in hand, so there's only 1 action spell, so they don't even dredge here. There's a Reclaimer, sure. Here I just pay 8. I'm sure I do. Because Library is just a joke. And it's all lands, which actually is not the worst. Yeah, so we just pay 8. Play Uro, draw a card, put Plains into play, I'm assuming. You can put a fetch, I guess. But yeah, Plains is fine. And say go. And this puts them in a position that they have to main phase activate for Bog. It was really like their only choice. And they play Choke, which is, thank God, this Wilt right here. So again, so there's a really interesting, this is very interesting. I find Swords of Plowshares, and I want a Swords right away, but I realize that they have to fetch to activate Reclaimer. So I actually like tap the Plains and stop myself, and then I tap like the Forest and Plains just to sort of show that, like, try to hide that I had the Swords of Plowshares, untap, and then I just go to my end step. Again, I just go to my end step because they're gonna have to fetch, and if they don't fetch, I'll like tag him on their upkeep if I need to. So he goes fetch, I plow, and that's such a big deal. If they had a non-summoning sick Reclaimer, they should have had 2 non-fetch mana available. Because that's just such a blowout now. Because it actually gave me a chance that I don't think I had previously. So he goes land, which I knew he had. So there's 1 card in hand, I don't know it. But we're just going to fetch up a Forest here? Or Trop, okay. Blow up that Choke. And now and the whole thing is now I have Ura up because he didn't get a chance to bog this away now with the lines they took. And I draw Surgical. Worst. Yeah, thanks for the follow, man. Just saw that. So yeah, Surgical the Loam, because I feel like that's the only way I could lose. It's the only form of card advantage they have after they Pyroblasted my Ura. So right here, I think we're in a pretty good position. We have Sylvan Library active. We have an Uro we could bring back next turn. If I think we find basically any cantrip. So we Ice Fang after fetching. Boom, boom. Trying to find something. Draw Teferi, which is just fantastic. Play Teferi. What do they have? Crop rotation here, I think. Yeah, so this is interesting. So they have crop rotation, and they thought about this for a long time. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, so I mean, like, let me know if you think anything different, like any lines I took or overall in the deck. But this is a matchup I think you had said something about the Field of the Dead. I think Field of the Dead is definitely an issue for the list. No way to remove it and no good way to handle zombies is pretty yeah, it's pretty interesting, like pretty frustrating. So my opponent here could have, I think, went for the win and tried to punk me. Um, they crop rotted, or maybe they cut Dark Depths, but they thought for a long time. They thought for about, I think it was about 2 to 3 minutes, and it's a tough choice. They can get Bajuka Bog, which stops me from getting Uro back, or they can get Depths and actually just make it 20-20. That puts me in a position that I have a Teferi in play, so I guess he's saying like, I'll just take this up and pass. He makes a 20-20 in a turn, and he gets one chance to draw like a blast or Yeah, Shark Typhoon was decent. I mean, I found the issue with Shark Typhoon is like if you mean like actually casting it, it's difficult to get the 6 mana against lands with the ports and wastelands. So um, I don't know. That's how I felt about it. I think I faced lands one other time. Yeah, I faced lands one other time. It was very interesting. It was a good player with Skyclave apparitions. So I got bogged here. Um, which is like frustrating, but not the end of the world at all. So my Teferi resolves. They have no cards in hand. I bounce Coatl just to get the free extra card. Let them say go. They draw a Council Judgment from my library, which is a little frustrating, but I think we're in a position that it just doesn't matter. Like I hit Brainstorm and then I hit Surgical. There's not. I don't think I surgical anything yet. There's nothing really that's like scary to me. And then we hit the Jace. So this is where it's this is where the match is over. Now I fade. This is beautiful. I fade seal him. See he has Sylvan Library, and then name Sylvan Library. Um, and then attack for one. So this gets into an interesting point of how I'm using Jace. I'm not sure it's accurate every turn. So they have one card in hand. I know it's Sylvan Library. Okay, so we're in a fine position right now. Then untap. Um, always take up tap. Nothing else to do with that. Brainstorm. I put back surgical, and then I put swords. What did I do? I put like swords of plowshares on top just to have a type of removal. I attack for 3. So here they have one unknown card in hand from this draw step, and it's punishing fire, which is obviously terrifying. So I forced this because they're just. I could have let that resolve and then force Sylvan Library, but I think that's bad. I like the clock that the Meddling Mage is presenting. It's a 5-turn clock right now. So Tef again, tick up. Jace brainstorms. Oh no, I brainstorm first, and then so I let him. So he has a choke, which I let him keep. So that they could just like slam something I know I can counter. Because basically, oh no, because I could Teferi bounce at this turn. That's why I let it go. Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, you could have choke, so I could yeah, and then I have back to basics. So I say bounce this, brainstorm. I get another basic. Say sure, attack for 3. So now they have Sylvan Library, Choke, and one Unknown in hand, with a 3-turn clock happening. So they play Choke. I think I hardcast Force it here because they can't Pyroblast it with the mana they have up. Even though my lands won't untap, I'd just rather keep the Brainstorm. Um, yeah, here I'm in a very good spot. I think I take up on both. I Brainstorm here. Okay. Brainstorm, Ponder, Shuffle, find another Brainstorm, and then Brainstorm into double Force negation. So, uh, again, just a pretty good spot. 6 life with a Sylvan Library in hand that they can't cast. So they play Valakut Expiration. That's a no sir. So I force negation that. They play Wasteland, which is that doesn't matter in this position. And they have one draw step left before lethal. So it's pretty easy. Fate Seal you, leave your Savannah on top, attack for 3, and then 3 of them the following turn. So that was a pretty interesting match. Yeah, overall it's pretty good. The 1-3 double choke and double pyroblast, which is pretty frustrating. So, um, so round 5. Uh, oh, this is versus Yama Killer. Um, and I actually started this 5 minutes late. I had to leave after their last match and go to Home Depot. So, I just came back and jumped into this. This hand seems very reasonable. Not knowing what they're on. I think this guy's played Karn Echoes in the past, which was a concern. But I have like so many cantrips. Like if they don't have literally Chalice, I'm in a good position. And maybe they played something different for the a PTQ. Due to the skill level. Mattering a lot more. So I just go Island Preordain, 2 lands. I just keep a fetch. They go Misty into Volcanic, I want to say. Volcanic Preordain. So right now I'm like, it's just a Sneaking Show or Delver. Um, Here's a Brainstorm, like basically into Daze because I'm basically like, they force negation Carpet here, which is fine. So now I'm thinking this is Delver after they force negation. He has Brainstorms and passes, which is I think is just so insanely good for me. So we put back Terminus and Council Judgment, the 2 more expensive removal spells. They bolt me end of turn, which is weird to me. The bolt end of turn just seems strange. It's just like get cards out of hand, which actually made me think they may have like a Bedlam Reveler or something. And then they bolt Jace, and I'm like, okay. And once they bolt me here, I'm in a position that they have Bedlam Reveler or what's the other one? The one that the whale that lets you get all these things back. Those were the 2 that were on my mind because I'm like, he's just like bolting me for a weird reason, and it looks like just straight blue red Delver, and then it is Bedlam Reveler. So I force pitching Brainstorm, um, assuming my Narset's gonna resolve, and if Narset or Brainstorm's gonna resolve, Narset will be better, and we just take Shark Typhoon here, and then they concede. So their hand was just like straight burn. So this one was pretty straightforward. Um, Game 2, again, it showcases the most powerful card in the deck. The most powerful card in Bant, I feel, is it could be a combination of 3, but when you actually get to, from the matches I played, it feels like Carpet of Flowers, when it's in play, is just the most absolutely broken thing. I just keep a 1-lander all in on Carpet, and I draw the Force to protect it, so that was pretty phenomenal. And then we Brainstorm. I put back non-Terminus cards, so the Miracle thing doesn't trigger, because I can't cast it anyway. So yeah, it looks like he's on like blue-red, maybe like a green splash or something, but just bolts and Swift Spears. And again, this is Carpet is so stupid, right? Because just like land Swords of Plowshares pass, like it's really dumb. Then Sprite Dragon, and it's a 1/1. I just take it. I don't want to play my Coatl into Daze. So here I play Tef, bounce this, and land is just a nut draw, because now Swift Spear or whatever. They play a little Sprite Dragon into my 1/1 Coatl that doesn't even have Death Touch, but they can't give it Prowess because of the fairy, so we just trade off and easy peasy. Then they can't. It's a shame cantrip afterwards. Play Narset, take up this. I mean, you could play this game 100 different ways, and it does not matter at all. They bolt Narset here. I Brainstorm into Force, and I just force it. And if they're bolting there, it's because they need cards. Shuffle end of turn. Draw E, which isn't bad. Take up Teferi. They have enough here to play and flashback Uro. Like, yeah, he just concedes to the Uro. So, very straightforward. This is like what I think was the worst matchup of the tournament. That I'm not sure I made any misplays, and I don't think any plays actually mattered. So my play here is to put Terminus, the next one down, and try to Terminus this away. And whatever it puts in a ringleader that misses and hits bolts. And then they play a Script Prospector. So I get to boom Terminus you, which is like the most amazing thing. Flooded Strand. Just shuffle. Find this, which is not the worst. He goes Lackey. I swords it. Play Library. Go. Plays a third Lackey, which I need to find an answer for. And I find the answer with Jace. it's literally just Jace on summon it. Dude, I just cannot let this lackey attack get through. Because they're just missing land drops. It's all in on lackey. And Forcible is terrible. There.
Mic off. Auto shutdown initiated. Auto shutdown canceled. Mic on.
Alright, so anyway, yeah, we win this game very easily, as you say. They take one draw step and then next two get absolutely bludgeoned. I have to answer the turn one lackey, so I think that's all I could do. So he goes turn one Route Master. Irritating, but at least I have an answer for it. But then just followed up by Ringleader, hitting a 3 for, right, so that's pretty brutal. I play Library just to try to find an answer. Plays another Ringleader, hits 2, so I take 5 here. It's like, the thing is, you're such a bad spot, and he plays Lackey, so even if you Terminus here, like I have snap swords. He has a third ringleader hitting all four. So yeah, like he just has eight goblins in hand, and we're just dead. Um, there was not much to do. Again, this matchup, I don't. I fetch Tundra because I have Forest. So I go Ponder here, find someone library brainstorm. Sure. Okay, play fetch, and they go matron. It's fine. Here I fetch island to brainstorm. See if I can find anything. I just whiff on it all. I make a small misplay here. They play a Blood Moon, which I think is just crazy against a deck with um, seven basics. But hey, so he plays Blood Moon. I don't float white, so he puts a lackey in. And then I hit Terminus for like the Rubbins. He does hit Chieftain, and I just can't play anything. Like Chieftain makes this like absolutely insane, where I would have been able to trade. So that game's over. So now X2 in the tournament. Mull that, keep this bottom. I bottom the brainstorm because I wanted to keep a Terminus in hand in case I wanted to brainstorm. Luckily, they didn't really run into Stifle at all, so I think I top. Yeah, top both lands. And this is a weird. Okay, yeah. Then he goes library, and this is like the worst possible scenario. I play library, and it's the worst possible sequence anyone could think of. I'm pretty sure here. So they pay 8, right? Or they pay 4, decay this, and then wasteland my duel. So I'm just infinitely behind. I brainstorm into all lands. Um, Try to ponder to find anything. I probably should have kept the ponder on top for blue card for force if there was something I needed to force. Like yeah, I probably would have forced that. So now I can fetch, ponder, and I shuffled. Like there was a brainstorm and shark typhoon. I was looking for an immediate answer. There's a chance I'm supposed to keep brainstorm, even though I don't think shark typhoon does much. So this is what I find out. It looks like they're sort of playing a non-lands, but more of a Maverick style, like Francisco's list, something similar to that. So he gets flagstones, and he's gonna try to start doing some combo stuff. So I have to swords the Reclaimer, even though it means a free card for them. Thalia beating me up here, and they play a Yasharm, and you have to force because they don't let you. You can't force afterwards. And I just draw another land, so I have Mystic Sanctuary. Um, to get back like a cantrip because I think it's better than a blind draw. Oh, they green sun for 3. Getting Ramen up to wasteland me, and this one goes downhill quickly. Yeah, I could have got swords, but I feel like having 10 land in hand is so bad. Let me just try to brainstorm. So I do. Then shuffle. Oh no, I find yeah, I found a swords and but swords you have to hit this. Like you really need a terminus in this position, I think, because you can swords this. They gain 2. They're just gonna keep wastelanding. You take 4. They have Crocus to protect Thalia. So play Uro. Draw a card. Sure. Oh, they swords it, which I thought was awesome, gaining 6 life. Um, Pass back to them, and then so now we have library. If we untap with an Uro and we call now they sword as an Uro, so 1 Uro down, so I have 2 more in the next 30 cards. They just keep getting this four damage beats in. Reclaimer is a bitch. Really need to hit Terminus, but whiff. So in this spot, I just pass instead of playing Sylvan Library. My hope is that if they attack with a wall, I could eat the Reclaimer or I could eat the Ramen up. So, because Sylvan Library would have cost 3 to play, I would have only been able to do this for 1. So now I get to do it for 4. basically eat the ramen up. So that's nice. They pass, okay.
Mic off. Mic on.
Sorry about that all. My wife needed something, and she's pregnant, so she gets whatever she wants. Basically what happened was he searches up Fill of the Dead with Flagstones, um, makes zombies, and then also fetches for a Dryad Arbor for exactly 10 damage. Really good play. I get bodied. So we can go to um, game 2 of the same match. And it's basically like a mid-range reclaimer list, it looks like. Oops, I had play first, muscle memory. No way I'm sending this hand back. I'm like, I'll play a duel first, wasteland me, go ahead, don't care. Here I'm probably supposed to play Floodstrand so I could swords, and I didn't. I just don't like having basic planes as my first mana. So I get basic planes, yeah, swords this now. Here's another reclaimer and a Field of the Dead. Sure, Field of the Dead's obviously brutal. I'm gonna swords this, but I draw back to basics, which is probably like the absolute nut draw. So we just go fetch basics, slam back to basics. You know, with force backup in case they somehow had force of vigor, um, which they don't.
Mic off. Mic on.
Alright, so here, just brainstorm and then swords the reclaimer. Not the best brainstorm in the world, but we're in a very good position right now. Flagstones, like white. So he's in a position that maybe he's trying to get to 3 mana and Skyclave this. Um, based on the style deck I've seen. They miss some land drops, so we just cycle Shark Typhoon, get through the deck, get a threat in play. Draw another Force of Will. Starting to get irritating because I can't even use snaps for value because I only have one blue source. I can't even snap Brainstorm. So I just play this and tick up, right? Because they're not running Power Blast, so it should be very straightforward. If they go land like green source and then decay this, like I'm totally okay with that, so it's fine. Again, another here I just do it for nothing, just to because I'm drawing so many cards, and I could Fate Seal them, and I just keep putting spells on top, and they concede. So this one was very straightforward. Back to basics was excellent, and then Jace Fate Sealing to ensure that they didn't hit any mana to answer my permanence. So 3. I think it's a turn 1 Reclaimer again. Yeah, it's pretty brutal. Here I just play EE on 1. They play that, sure. Here I can either play blow up EE or play Summon Library. I think I play Summon Library because it's just making them must answer it. Yeah, sure. Because if they answer that, then they're not activating Reclaimer anyway. So they decay my library. I say sure. All right, so we're in a very good spot here. I think I blow up EE. Sure, we brainstorm, get rid of Terminus, fetch a basic, and then pop EE. So we're at parity. They only have 2 cards in hand. We have, we both have the same amount of lands. They hit the 3rd Reclaimer. Or this game is the 2nd one. So here I think I fetch and just Jace bounce it. I think I use Jace on summon a lot. This PTQ because they can fetch Dryad, attack it to 1, and we're still not in the worst spot. because I really don't want them being able to activate it with flagstones and get like a Field of the Dead and an activation. And he yeah, he gets another one. So that's absolutely brutal. So I need another EE here. At this point, I brainstorm with Jace. Like I think, so I brainstorm with an actual brainstorm, fetch, sure, and then brainstorm with Jace. It just lets me preordain, uh, and then I find Uro, sure. This Uro is basically gonna mean that so right here he has to send 2 at Jace to play around Swords of Plowshares, and he has to Bajuka Bog me to get rid of the Uro. So overall, this really isn't that bad of a position. Yeah, he sacks this, gets like gets basic planes for back to basics, and then Bajuka Bogs me. All very reasonable plays. I fetch Mystic Sanctuary, I think, just to get a cantrip here while I can. Yep, sure. I ponder, shuffle, and then just brainstorm. This is pretty solid. Swords of Plowshares on one of those. Play back to basics, and then play Chop Pass. So he just has this and 2 basics in play. He has to spend this on Knight of Autumn, which I force. Okay, so we're in a pretty good spot. They have this 3/2 with 2 basic mana, and they just blew away to get rid of this. So I think it's your Snapcaster. So you main phase Snapcaster Swords to Plowshares on the Elvish. That leaves them just 2 mana, no activations. There's no Field of Deads in play. So overall, while they have 2 cards in hand, the back to basics I think means we're ahead. Thalia here is insane, absolutely brutal when I have just this, and I draw the Force Red turn after. So now they have a 2/1 that can attack freely, and everything costs more. So if they play anything to force, I have to tap my duel, which is frustrating. Obviously, taking this, not worth just throwing away a Snapcaster. I get a land, which I play, so I could fetch, and force a will without having to tap my drop. So they attack me. I go to 8, sure. They don't do anything. So Coatl is not great here, since I can't actually block profitably. So he just attack. I think I passed just leaving up the hardcast Force of Will rather than playing Coatl. Our life total's low, but it doesn't look like they have any burn. Yeah, because they play Elvish Reclaimer, which we have to force. That's the 3rd Elvish Reclaimer. Oh, that's the 4th Elvish Reclaimer. So we force the 4th Elvish Reclaimer. And we draw a second Coatl. Second Coatl is a nice draw for sure. Because now I'm a little more liberal with just throwing them under the bus, under Thalia if we have to. So we play Coatl, and draw Swords of Plowshares. We main phase it in case they have Caracas, and they swords my Coatl, right? Which is fine. So they're fetching the Thin now, and they play Court of. So this is interesting. They actually play Court of Grace here. While they know they're gonna lose the Monarch. I think it's basically daring me like they know they're gonna lose it, and I'm gonna draw cards, but they're just daring me to try to answer it quickly so that they can leverage it more. Uh, so they go to Wasteland Trop. We flash in Coatl, so this gives us 2 attackers, which is great. Right, so we draw a free card. We have a Terminus, and obviously not going to cast it. My Trop is gone, sure. Okay. So now we're really racing. They get the 1 free card, and then they're going to get 1/1s every turn. So we need to find a way to race to 1/1s, and this is we draw the Stone Nuts. Like this card, Shark Typhoon, just slam it. So I couldn't slam it fast enough. So we get in for 3, claim the Monarch, and now they have 2. So they'll have 2 cards that we have to try to work through, and then a 1/1 every turn. So we draw an extra card here. Draw Brainstorm, right? Obviously Brainstorm, like excellent. Help us hide the Terminus. Then they draw a very frustrating card. They draw Chalice. So now Brainstorm doesn't put back my Terminus, but it at least, because of Shark Typhoon, would generate, allow me to generate a blocker. So here I actually attack with both, getting the maximum in, because they essentially can't answer my 1/1 in an instant speed. They can't Swords of Plowshares it, which they run with their Chalice deck, which is interesting. Yeah, so they go attack. I say Brainstorm, countered, sure, 1/1 block right here. So that's fine. Great, sure, you got me. Yep. Then they shock here to put Skyclave Apparition, and I think they target my Death Toucher rather than back to basics. Now, that's a line. Maybe they had nothing to do with their mana, and it didn't matter which is one line, and they're like, this 1/1 Death Toucher is going to run away with it. But that to me worked out so well. Worked out very well for us. Because we untap, we're like Jace with the Shark Typhoon to make a 4/4 Shark. So we're going to attack here. Yeah, we're sure attack. They don't block. You go to 8. Because again, we are racing this. We have to keep attacking. I think that if you play defense too much, that's how you lose. So then I hardcast Terminus here. Hardcasting Terminus clears the board, allows me to get a trigger from the Skyclave, which is a creature, and then I ponder for another 1/1. So you just keep throwing things under the bus. Like keep throwing things in the chalice to get the 1/1, get the triggers. Again, draw a free card. They have a 1/1, so it's their 1/1 and 3 mana versus this, right? So we're in an incredible position, and right off the top they rip Choke. Yeah, absolutely devastating. Absolutely right. Like literally the best possible draw with 3 mana up. So here we attack for 2. The illusion can't block. We leave the 1/1 back to block. They're at 6. We're at 5. This match is so insanely tight. It's just this is such a tight, such an absolutely. This is a very fun match. It was very difficult. And you see little things like this, like the chalice on 1, the choke, and then this making 1/1s every turn. I have been able to draw about 5 extra cards off the Court of Grace. And even with the 5 extra cards, I'm still like just eking everything out. So they attack. Obviously, we chomp. That's the whole point of this. So we untap, trying to find the wilt, and we rip it off like an absolute champion of the world. We attack again since we can't block the flyer. Get him down to 4 life. And the wilt was just a nut draw. It took us 40 cards to find it, but the wilt here is the game ender. They get a 1/1. They attack with the 1/1. We wilt the choke, make a 2/2 flying blocker. They can't play anything at instant speed. They can't swords because of chalice, and there's nothing that's going to destroy the shark. So we just eat this up, and now we attack for lethal next turn. Like this is turn 17, so the game is absolutely nuts. I play the Jace, bounce your spirit token, attack for 4. GG. This was a really fun game. This game was it came down to the wire. Them ripping choke and then me ripping wilt. So it was a lot of fun. And but Shark Typhoon absolutely won this. Court of Grace I think would have won if Shark Typhoon didn't just keep up with making flying blockers. Round 8. Thank anybody for stopping in. Like I said, I'll probably just I'll post this to the Discord once it's done. Just in case people actually want to look back and say they didn't get a chance to. That was nuts. Yeah. It's Court of Grace. It's the white court. You become the monarch, and during your upkeep, it makes a 1/1 spirit. But if you are the monarch, it makes a 4/4 angel. So like I think like I had an attacker on board, so they knew they were gonna lose the monarch the first turn. I think they were just banking that in the long run the 1/1s I wouldn't be able to answer them all, which I wouldn't have without Shark Typhoon. So in hindsight, I think their play was correct. I just had like Shark Typhoon, which was aside from maybe Wilt. Was the best possible answer. Because if I just wilted it right away while I had the Monarch, they were never going to Monarch back, and I would just draw cards the rest of the match. But yeah, it was a very, very tight game. It was a lot of fun. It was really, really good. This against Nimbless Mongoose, I assume Rug Delver with the name Nimbless Mongoose, and sure enough, while they don't play a Mongoose, it is Rug Delver. Our hand is very good. Missing some spot removal, but just having like 5 land drops for Delver, it is not to be understated. I am under significant pressure here. I slam Library. They don't have Daze or Force or anything, which is something I noted. Like they almost honestly have to daze this, right? Because it's even if I don't pay for it, it's allowing me just to find the removal spells I need. So this makes me think that they don't have daze. Maybe they have force and they didn't think it was worth it, but and then they had petty theft, right? So they definitely could have daze here. But I'm in such a bad position right now. Um, because they have 3 here. This could be 6, and then they have 9. Like they have so many attackers. I ripped the carpet, which is possibly the best draw, because again, this card is just idiotic, and this resolves. So they have no counter magic in my mind. They maybe have bolts. They have to have just bolts, maybe wastelands, that I'm playing around. So because of that, because they don't counter this, and to me, any Rug Delver player who's worth anything, and we're in the we're in the X2 bracket of PTQ. This person's probably a reasonable player. I think they would have forced it. So the only thing they may have is days, but I'm not in a position where I could play around days anymore. Um, because it was the only other option without playing Teferi is to play Ponder and hope to hit Swords of Plowshares. So I just jam a Tef. Basically, if this resolves and I get the Time Walk, I bounce the 3 power, and then even if they attack Teferi, I'm in a fine position. It somehow resolves. So now I'm thinking they don't have anything in hand. Like their hand must be absolutely terrible, and they're not. I know they have 1 Lightning Bolt in hand. So they attack Teferi, sure, you got me, and play another Delver, and I know they're gonna have a 3/2. And so we're just gonna show off the power of Uro here. So I don't shuffle, I fetch, because just to get another 9 move here. I think I add white. Yeah, I had white in case I draw Swords of Plowshares, and literally the nut draw Swords of Plowshares, Swords of Plowshares on top. So what I can do in this position is actually just play Uro with white floating, put in another land to play around days, swords one of them, go to end step, they flash this in, and then I swords that. So it just becomes like one of the absolute from I've never had such a quick turnaround from when I thought I was absolutely dead to coming back. They did get very unlucky with their Delvers, aside from the turn 1 blind flip, um, which is worth something. They play Hooting Mandrills. I say sure. I don't really care about Hooting Mandrills. I'm just gonna play my Uro, so Hooting Mandrills is not that scary to me. So I have a 6/6. Yeah, like you have that, cool. And then I play another Uro just to gain another 3 life and get through the deck a little more. I find a Teferi. I just play Sylvan Library though. I'm at 19 life. I don't think there's a reason to play into it. I have Force of Will backup. Like we're fine here. So they attack Delver in this. I block here. They dismember this, and then I force the dismember, and the game's over. Um, there's just nothing they could do. If anything, like knowing their hand, they have Daze and Bolt unknown. If they don't obviously don't have Force, they just bolt this. I take like 1 trample and 3, and then I just replay it, and then bounce the insectile. So that's that's an easy game for me. Game 2 of round 8. This hand is stellar. So one thing is the sideboard guide here. The sideboard guide that I was using from the Discord had me bringing it back to basics against non-blue red delvers. I don't know. I found black to basics, especially with things like Clothis that could generate mana, days, bouncing lands, and their threats are so powerful. So I just put in Relic. I like Relic a lot. It gets rid of Threshold. It gets rid of the lands for Hooting Mandrills. You can target yourself to play around Surgical with Uro. So I think Relic of Progenitus is way better than Back to Basics in my opinion. I played Miracles a little bit a couple years ago, but Back to Basics just never felt super good to me. So here we go. Just play a E on 1. Yeah, I'll play this into days all day. That sets you back a turn. I don't mind that at all. It's a good exchange for me. Graph Digger's Cage, don't care at all. So I put back Ura. Now that I have this cage out. Ponder into Swords of Plowshares, Brainstorm. These are all just fantastic cards for me. They reveal Spell Pierce, so we just have to play around Spell Pierce the rest of the match. I play Relic, target you. Your go. So their attack here, I know that they have a Spell Pierce. I play Ice Fang. I'm like, if you have days, you got me. They don't have days. Gobble that up, and they miss a land drop. Target you again. We're so far ahead here. Uh, yeah, what are they doing? They literally have 1 land and this can play with a Spell Pierce. We're just generating. We're 6 cards deeper than they are. Just target you again. And I think here I just play Uro to try to get into a position where maybe I could Tef bounce your cage and then replay Uro. Go ahead. So they play Delver, sure. That's an easy swords. Yep, gone. So here I play Tef, bounce your cage, just go. Then they bolt Tef, don't care. They play with this. So here's something funny. Oh no, okay, it was different. That didn't happen yet. All right, so I just relic them targeting something. So here I play Jace, Fate Seal you. The only thing is they may have a blast, which is frustrating. Maybe I was supposed to brainstorm. Okay, here's the line that happened. So here, you can't go back in this fucking thing, but so what had happened was I relic targeted them. They in response surgicaled me. My Uro, pop relic, exile all the graveyards. Their surgical fizzles. I draw a card. I lose my one Uro that's in the yard, but who really cares? Your next Goif is going to be nothing. And ironically, because they didn't wait for the relic trigger to resolve, they have to exile the surgical. So for whatever that's worth, it's like a little marginal thing, but now that's gone. So their surgical is gone. Okay. So now I almost slammed Shark Typhoon, but we know they have the Spell Pierce, right? They play Goyf, we say okay. End of turn, I think I just Shark Typhoon for like 4 just to get an attacker in play. Yep, Shark Typhoon for 4. Play Jace, draw 3 cards, and now we're just right. It's just off to the races. It doesn't matter. Sword your Goyf, Mystic Sanctuary, putting swords back on top. Attack for 4. And I have an answer to this if I want to get Uro back. They bolt my Jace. Yeah, you got me. What do you want me to say? I cancel Judgment, get rid of that. Ponder, boom, Ponder. Swords of Plowshares are more lands, which we love. We love more lands. You know when you play this deck. Attack for 4. Again, now I just have this 4/4 that they have to answer. I'm up 6 lands here. They just concede to Uro. Like I guess they had 1 surgical and 1 cage, and we beat them both. So now they just know they can't beat this Uro. So this was just like a whooping. It felt absolutely fine. There was never an instance in this match, in this game that I was worried. Last game they definitely had a fast clock that we were able to outrace, but that's all right. That was round 8. So at this point we were 4-2. No, I'm sorry. The event was so long, 6-2. Yeah, we finished. All right, so we were 6-2 after this. So we're just playing for prizes now. Our breakers are probably shit because of our first loss was round 1. So, but really, it's like, yeah, I was home. I'm like, let's just play. I'm gonna play it out, and just see how it goes. I don't really get to play too often, so being able to play at PTQ is pretty sweet. So the last round, I looked this person up on Goldfish. They had 2 tops, and they were both Infect. So I think I'm going up against Infect, and I just based it on that. Hand's great. Just double Swords of Plowshares against Infect. It makes me feel really good. So, and again, because it's Infect, I say like I dare you to have like a Wasteland here. I bottom 1 land, top another land. But I think being able to cantrip into double swords with having white on turn 2 is very important. All right, so just land go. And so he goes the classic Ink Moth into Blighted Agent. So just like threaten to threat on the same turn. Swords that before Vines is available. So Brainstorm, phenomenal draw. This has been Glistener Elf. I brainstorm here. I want to see what the deal is. Swords that, sure, and then I fetch. So now I just slam Sylvan Library. We can force negation. They would need to have like land, invigorate, berserk, and then we can cover that. And they're not even attacking for 1 here because they're just probably like respecting another removal spell. The great thing about versing Infect is you just pay 8 every time because they're just going to do anything. And there we get to get back Swords of Plowshares, put that on top. We play Uro. They daze here, which is pretty funny. So I have to fetch away my Swords of Plowshares, and I don't. So then he goes Teferi, and I force negation, and he dazes again. This time I actually just take the bait. I shuffle in the Swords of Plowshares. I pay for the daze to make sure that doesn't resolve, so I have my other force negation up. And now that I know they don't have daze, I don't have to pay around that. I pay 8 and go to 1 here because it simply doesn't matter. I get an Uro just so I have a clock in play with force negation backup. And then because if I get to untap and start gaining life with the Jason play, it's pretty solid. So you know, animates, attack, no pumps. So pretty straightforward. Put back the other two Uros, fetch them away. Not in the market for them. Attack, go up to 6. And he berserks my Uro, so it dies. So he takes 12. I then play Teferi, bouncing my Uro, and then just pass the turn. And now we have a Coatl up with Death Touch. And he can't instant speed anything, so I don't even have to get a Death Touch because they can't even pump it. So that was pretty nice, pretty clean win. And in fact, game 2 of match 9. Turn 1 threat, always frustrating, but hey, we got the removal rate. So we just got land go, and again, it's hard to say. I don't know what was in their hand if they wanted to ever. It's very often that like infect, like some infect players that just put you to the test are like just like they basically say like have the force will to lose. So this puts me in a good spot. I brainstorm here just to try to find the Terminus to get the 2-for-1 and miss on that. So untap, draw an obvious great one with Swords of Plowshares. So now I have white, and he goes to Surgical my Brainstorm. So I Swords 1 in response. I fetch. He stifles. I forge pitching a Brainstorm. So my fetch resolves. And I actually side out 2 forces versus them. So just having it at the right time. There's only 2 Brainstorms left in the deck also. I play Tef, tick up. Nothing like, there's no reason to do anything fancy here. They miss a land drop. End of turn, I ponder. I find Sylvan Library, which just seems fantastic. So, and then also for the fetch for Mystic Sanctuary. And so that there was a mistake. I should have played the fetch instead of the forest. And I think I remembered that or like right when I did it. So here I want to pay 8, but like it's like looks just so bad. So we Mystic Sanctuary swords here, and then bounce this to draw that, and then ponder. Uh, so our hand is in like we're in such a great spot. Like having Teferi in play versus Infect, it just makes the match an absolute fucking buy. And now we pay 8. Coatl, Swords of Plowshare. I have Hardcast Terminus up at instant speed because of Teferi. So right here, it's just this is like easy mode to the 7 and 2. Like you play Invigorate, okay. Now I swords that. What's up? Ponder end of turn for another Coatl. Like this match is so fucking over. It's not even close. Instant speed, yeah. So instant speed, pondering. Then back to basics. Like off of carpet mana. Just so this match was very straightforward, and that was 7 and 2. So that's pretty much it. The deck overall felt pretty good. Like my favorite match was definitely versus the that Elvish Reclaimer list. That was super fun. That was a good time. Like I said, I definitely pointed out a couple mistakes. It's pretty easy when you look back to see like, oh, that was silly. Like, why did I do that or anything? Yeah. Again, this is the list I went off of. Uh, Not mine. Mentions list. Uh, where is it? Yep, I went off a mentions list and I used the sideboard guide that was made by these guys over here, everyone in the Discord. So I used that sideboard guide and followed almost everything it said except for the Rug Delver when I wanted to bring in relics instead of the back to basics. Um, if, I'm lucky. I think there's a couple bad matchups, particularly I think Elves is probably like fucking unwinnable. I think you would need so much to beat Elves. Death and Taxes with Caracas is probably hard. My guess is you'd have to really adjust the sideboard. The thing is, I actually like all the cards in the sideboard. They all came in for particular matchups and were very well suited for it. So I'm not sure what you would change in the sideboard, but cards like Cursed Totem and Pithing Needle are probably cards that I would consider if Death and Taxes and Elves are going to be there, and maybe for like Force Negations and Carpet of Flowers, the main deck. If you're, if the meta shifts that way, I would maybe change it along those lines. If you want to understand these colors anyway, but obviously this combination, the Uro and Sylvan Library, is the main reason to play this deck is the Uro Sylvan Library, and the secondary reason is the Carpet of Flowers. Like those are the absolute nut, like the nut things to play in this deck. They're just pretty messed up. Sure, you get like your Uro Surgical or you face Caracas, and that definitely puts a damper because you have the one Shark Typhoon, you don't have any Entreat the Angels. Um, and your mana is a little awkward, only having like the one basic planes. Um, yeah, there was a couple games where both Trops or both Tundras got wastelanded by me, of mine, and that made it a little more difficult. The Counter Judgment's great. The Planeswalkers all made sense. Like I said, maybe uh, if you expected to be more fair, you cut some of these. But it's really hard to say. The list was great. It was really great. Fonz were great versus like Life from the Loam, Punishing Fire. Also, so it really depends what you're thinking. But I'm sure there's a balance of maybe you move like some Fonz to the sideboard, or is there anything in the sideboard that can get moved to the main deck? I don't. If anything, maybe EE. EE is pretty good. It came in against a lot of things. Um, So maybe you want to have like one E main or something, getting rid of a forced negation, making room for like a curse totem or a pith needle on the sideboard. Uh, yeah, but again, I only played one tournament with this. I'm no expert. I played Miracles more, like during top and when top right after top got banned. Um, so yeah, all right, that's pretty much it. Just my insights on this. Yeah. Well, anyway, hope people find this worth anything or enjoyable. And if there's anything, just I'll put it in the Discord, and you guys can comment about any particular matches or anything that you may have seen that I had done incorrectly. So, all right. Well, thanks for anyone who tuned in for the stream, and yeah, thanks for anyone who ends up watching this on in the Discords. All right. Take care, everyone.